Okay, so this is the other half of your drawing. So far you've started this one and you're going to continue it. Now you're going to do the perspective one. And I'm going to show you an example of the perspective one. So you can kind of see this one here is what you just completed. And this one here is using perspective. Ironically, they're basically the same thing. If you were to find the halfway point where this starts to crest and turn in and draw a line through, it would appear to look like this. So this is what we're actually going to use when we draw from observation, and this is the easier approach. You can measure and compare and contrast. This is what you're going to draw if you have something that is on its side or on an angle going back in space. So this is effective and helpful to use, but most of the time you're going to be using this process. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to break down the guide right now. Okay, first thing you're going to do is you're going to measure or find the halfway point both vertically and horizontally. And I'm using my H pencil here. So if it's 18 inches, I did this already. So if you, this is the same exact structure as the previous one. So if you wanted to fast forward this part and go right to the next section, that's fine. But if you need a review, here is your review. Okay, so there's your division in half that way. Half of 12. Such a clean rip. Actually, I flipped this around because this is the machine cut side, and this is my rip side. So I'm just going to go from the machine cut side, measure 6 inches in. It's not a perfect 12, and I don't want to be close and then have to have this kind of crooked line. So I know that's certain, that's true, and I measure 6 inches in. Even if it's not dead center, it's okay right now. It just has to be vertical. That's the most important thing. All right, we have our vertical cut in half, horizontal cut in half. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go 3 inches from center out and 3 inches from center out. What I'd like to do is put the 6 right on the line. If you look right here, this big line here shares the same line. And all I do is go 3 in one direction and 3 in another. So that'll be 3 and 9. And then I just do the same thing down here, put the 6 right on the line and go 3 and 9. And the last time I made a mental error and I went, 9 looks like it's right above this line and I put it on that line, but it's actually the long line. So I'm just gonna double check to see if I did that correct here. And it looks like I did. Okay. Is this the ruler that you get in your kit if you have a kit? And it can be confusing. All right. So you're gonna connect those 2 points, strike a line. We're almost there. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna measure. We're gonna start from this side, finish this, and then we'll finish the otthe side. Or you'll finish the other side, but I'll show you how to do this side. So you're gonna measure 1 inch down. Again, instead of using the edge of the ruler, I'll just line the 2 up with the edge of the line. It just makes for a cleaner measurement. And I'm measuring 1 inch in, which is 3. And I'm going to connect my 2 points, and this will be my starting line. Okay? So I'm gonna bring this in right here. So I have everything in except the individual parts. Okay? So this is where it starts to differ. Almost differ. So the first section, I'm sorry, let me just bring this up again. So the first section here, actually, if you look on this side, the width or height, I'm sorry, the height of this ellipse here is 2 inches. The height of this ellipse is 1.5. The height of this is 1, and so forth. So they get smaller a half an inch each time. I also have a 1/2 inch divider between each ellipse. So how do I do that? What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure. And right now I'm just putting a 2 right on that line because, again, it's just a clean measurement. And I'm going to measure, I'm just going to count 2 inches, mark it. I'm going to mark a 1/2 inch because that's my divider. And I'm going to put an X here. And then we do 1.5 inches, so a half. Mark it. Double check your measurements too, because if you do this quickly, you'll make a mistake. You got to redo it. You'll get stuck in this stage for a while. So that I did 2, I did 1.5. The next one is 1 inch. Pretty easy. And then a 1/2 inch. I put an X. Always do that 1/2 inch X. So I have it 1 inch. So the next one's going to be a 1/2 inch. That's going to be the size of the ellipse, and another 1/2 inch, and that's the X. So there's like 3 halves in a row. After that, you're going to do a 1/4 inch. Okay, you're going to do the same thing on the other side. 2 inches right down. And put the ruler as close to the line as you can because it's easy for you to mark it. So I'm going 2 inches in, a 1/2 inch, X, 1.5 inches, and another 1/2 inch, which is an X. 1 inch and a 1/2 inch, which is an X, a 1/2 inch, and then another 1/2 inch, which is an X, and then a 1/4 inch. Now these lines should connect with the other lines pretty easily, and I'm going to use this guy to do so. And again, I'm going to use the grid in here to line up the really thin grid. If you can get really close there, the really thin grid is going to line up with the pencil lines as I have them. And what I do is I like to kind of line the center one up, and then I try to line the 2 points up, and I marry the 2 together, and then I'm pretty confident that that's a straight line parallel to the edges of the paper. So I do this each time. Doesn't take that long if you just kind of bang them out. And this video I'm just going to show, it's going to be part 1, part 2. This video I'm just going to show you how to draw the space out. And we'll start the first ellipse, and then I'll make another video finishing the ellipse. I just don't want to make the video too long, puts too much pressure on me, and then I end up making a mistake. So each one of these little marks, they should line up perfectly. Oops, I gotta go a little closer now. They should line up perfectly, and if they don't, then you made a mistake. And you got to go back and remeasure. 1 more to go. Okay, so this is where it becomes different than, this is where I said you could speed up to, this is where it becomes different than the other side. So if you look here, this is the perspective side. These lines go down and they converge to this vanishing point, which is where the crosshairs are of the original vertical and horizontal line. These do not do that. So what do we do now? We grab, this is this little point, or where these 2 lines intersect, make a small little dot. Put your pencil there, run your ruler right into it, and you're going to connect it to this far corner, and you're going to run a line right down to there. Going to do the same thing to the other side. And this is basically 1 point perspective. Whenever you draw a symmetrical form, you can draw it in 1 point perspective. If you want to labor over something like that, you can do it. It is quite daunting though. My approach will use that a little bit, but not to the point where it's going to drive you nuts. All right, so you can kind of see the ones that are an X right through here, you're not touching, you're just drawing these little tiny diagonal lines straight down. And there's one more. The super small 1/4 inch high ellipse, which is common because that's where close to your eye level is. And basically you're going to do the same thing on this side. But I'm not done, Still, I'm not done. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to cross your corners. So what I'm going to do is put my pencil here, connect it to the other opposite corner. Turn it this way, put my pencil here, and connect it to the opposite corner. And it should intersect right there. And then you're going to do one more line straight across. And this is where you definitely want to use the grid ruler to line it up with a thin line over an existing line. Because you only have this one line to make sure that it's perfectly runs horizontal. So that's what you're going to do on all 4 of them. I will do that real quickly. Review, cross your corners, which finds your center. Do that a lot with perspective. And then run a line perfectly horizontal across. Notice it took me a while to line it up, so take your time there. If they don't cross in the middle perfectly and are just a hair off, it's okay if it's a hair off. It's not a big deal. If it's way off, then something's wrong. I mean, it could be that you didn't cross your corners well. Like this one kind of crosses right there. Not a big deal. Still understand where the center is. It's so small that you won't even know the difference. Cross your corners here. Is my head in here? Okay. It's such a thin rectangle, it's kind of hard to cross the corners cleanly. And look where the center is. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Sorry, it's taking me a minute just to get that line, get the line in. Okay, this one's really small, hard to see, but the next thing you're gonna do, jump up to my HB, put this guy on the side. Remember, this was just for this foundation. That's the foundation. Next thing you're gonna do, you're gonna do the same kind of approach. You're gonna do an arc. But when you're making your arcs here, you're looking at the X's that were where it intersects here and there, and things are just a little bit different. The funny thing is it looks the same when you're done. So this arc is a little smaller. And then this arc here looks something along the lines of that. Okay? And this arc here looks something along the lines of that. And then you can start to connect them. I'll be right down. All right, 2 seconds. Sorry about that. This is the wife of making videos, the full household. Okay, so I'm almost finished here. There you go. So there is the ellipse. And if I look at this again, I might cut this down just a hair more, but you can see it going back down in space. And you just repeat that on all 4 of them. I'm gonna make another video finishing those 4, and I'll see you later.